Hey crew, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun project video we're going to be back over on the TOOCAA 40W laser engraver, making a creative 6-layer design for Shark Week 2026. If you all seen in Monday's scroll saw project video, we cut out this beautiful great white shark. Keep in mind, everything here is cut out by hand. Everything in today's video will be cut out over on the TOOCAA 40W laser engraver. The file I'm going to be using is from the Etsy website, and as with all layered designs, I feel like you could use individual layers for their own individual project, or as we're going to do in today's video, combine all 6 layers to make a beautiful and creative design that layers up to give a simulated 3D effect. The Lightburn software is loading up, where I already have the project enlarged to the size that I want it made, and we're going to be using 2 pieces of 3mm plywood. Now this is very thin, it's very fragile, so just be aware that when you laser cut something out of this, depending on the delicacy of the project or the delicateness of the project, it could potentially break. So just be very careful, because as you can see here with a 12 by 12 piece of it, I'm able to easily flex and bend it, and I could potentially break it if I added more pressure. One of the pieces is already loaded into the TOOCAA 40W laser engraver. So to get started, what we need to do is, of course, get on our safety UV goggles, turn on the air filtration unit, move the camera, and get started. And as always, before we get started, I wanted to show you the entire file loaded on the Lightburn software, and you can see there is too many pieces to get everything done in one pass, so we'll be going in 2 individual passes. I'll line up the first 3 layers with the camera that TOOCAA kindly sent me, and I'll quickly frame it out over at the laser before hitting start. And there's just a small bit of engraving, which is what the laser is doing now. It's a school of fish that's being engraved on the backer board. That's just a nice added detail. But after it does this, everything else will be laser cutting completely through the 3mm material. And as you all know, this is my traditional view when the laser is running, but this is also why I like to put the GoPro in the enclosure to record, to give you all the best view possible as we are seeing now. Again, this file is from the Etsy website, and I picked up in a layered tropical pattern pack to where there were several different tropical themes in it, and the shark immediately drew my eye for Shark Week, and I knew I'd have to make it and bring it to life. But it is already almost done with the first set here, and you all know when the laser is done, I'll leave it sitting for around 5 minutes to make sure all of the smoke and fumes have been completely piped out of the workshop before opening the enclosure to remove our pieces. And we'll be careful here because they are fragile. But then we'll load in our second and final piece of 3mm craft plywood, and I'll get everything prepped and ready over on the Lightburn software. And you've seen me open the lid so I could turn the GoPro back on so it could continue filming. But then we was ready to go again after making sure we was taking full advantage of our material. If you all like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you all to subscribe to my channel, and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. But here you can see another view that I can see, and I love how the enclosure is translucent all the way around to where you can safely see it while you are in the workshop. But here we are back with the GoPro vantage point, and I just think it adds a cool perspective. And obviously the footage is sped up here, but it did not take long for the 40W laser engraver to quickly fly through this material. Again, I'm still learning what all the 40W laser can do, Remember, way back when we started with a simple 5-watt laser, and now we have this powerful 40-watt one in the workshop. And I want to thank TOOCAA for supplying me with it. But now all of the laser work is done, and I'll collect our pieces here carefully because these pieces are especially fragile. And then after they are collected, we'll get a visual of what the finished design is going to look at over here on the Rikon table saw by layering them together. And I think they look cool just like this. But we will of course apply a splash of color to give it a nice tropical flair. And to do that, we'll use the acrylic craft pens. And one cool thing about layered projects is you could use each individual layer as its own standalone project. Like what I'm painting here, gray, could be just a nice shark shape, but when you do the layers, you do not have to completely cover every single layer with paint. I hope that makes sense. But of course, if you wanted to, you could stain this, you could spray paint it. If you were better with paints than I am, you could really go hog wild with how you painted everything. But one thing I love about these acrylic craft pens is that they basically dry instantly or relatively quickly, depending on the weather in your area or if it's hot in your workshop like it is in this one in the heat of summer. But it was just fun mixing and matching the tropical colors and seeing how they would all layer together to make that beautiful tropical design. And the two divers here, I hope it goes without saying, are especially fragile. But after everything had dried, it was time to begin the assembly process with medium grade CA glue and activator. And I have to work relatively quickly here, but I was confident in my abilities to get everything lined up before the glue started curing. But after all of the layers were together, I sprayed it with the activator and let it sit and dry for around 5 minutes to make sure that glue had completely cured. And then it was time for a finish. And for a finish, I gave it a few coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss, and it really made those tropical colors pop and stand out. When it dried, our laser project for Shark Week was complete. And here we have the completed laser cut shark project. Laser cut completely over on the TOOCAA 40-watt diode laser engraver, and I think it finished up beautifully with some nice tropical colors. Keep in mind, we painted everything with the acrylic paint pens, and I'll talk more about finishing as we get closer to the end of the video. But it took the TOOCAA 40-watt laser engraver around 30 minutes to laser cut all 6 layers. Again, we done it in 2 passes over on the TOOCAA laser out of 3mm craft plywood, and you can see how all 6 layers there layer up seamlessly to make it have the illusion of one single piece of wood that's been carved out as opposed to 6 individual layers. The settings I used in the Lightburn software, keep in mind for all the laser stuff out here in the workshop, I pretty much exclusively use the Lightburn software. I used a setting of 600 speed, 90% power, 1 pass with air assist on, and as I just said, it just did all of the laser work in around 30 minutes. And keep in mind, I had to stop, move the camera, put another piece of material in, and go again, but that still totaled only around 30 minutes. Now of course, if you made this project out of thicker material, it would take longer, and as always, depending on the watt of your laser, some people have 5 watt, 10 watt, 20 watt. I thankfully have a 40-watt laser out here in the workshop, and it simply flies through the thinner material. And of course, anytime a laser engraver is running out in your garage or workshop, make sure you have the fumes piped away. There is a dust port on that one and it pipes it out of the workshop. I have the air filtration unit on, and then I also wear my safety UV goggles and try to remind myself to put them on anytime I walk over to the laser to see how it's doing on any given project out here. And as always, due to the nature of a laser, you do not want to leave it unattended for long periods of time. But again, this file came from the Etsy website. I downloaded a tropical layered pattern pack. I think it was 12 to 14 different shapes in it for animals, sea creatures like an octopus, a whale, I think a pair of sunglasses, a dolphin, a seahorse, things like that. And this is one of the projects I knew I would want to make and bring to life visually over here on the YouTube platform for Shark Week. And wherever you are in the Big Wide World crew, I hope you're enjoying Shark Week, because this project is going up during Shark Week 2026. And while you are viewing this video, I'm more than likely in the house with a nice cup of coffee or ice water enjoying these shark documentaries that come out year after year. Again, they're my favorite creatures out in the world. But with layered designs like this, I feel like you could use them in a variety of ways. If you just wanted to use the shape, the outside perimeter top layer there that's painted gray of the shark, you could totally use that as its own standalone design. You could cut it out maybe 7 or 8 times and then cut a backer board out, you know, to the shape of the shark. So only use the top and back layers in the file pack, and you could make like a shark themed tray. Now of course I cut it out to the size of the laser bed, and there you see you have the one pass we done, and then we had the first pass we done. So you can see here how each individual layer popped out, again cut cleanly and crisply out of this thin material. My pops got it for me at Home Depot. He went and picked it up and brought it to me, and then I broke it down and everything. So really happy with this material here. I wish other stores sold it as opposed to buying the 3mm basswood that's available online. That stuff can get really expensive if you buy a lot of it. But really happy with how this project came out. And again, if you have a bigger laser bed, you could of course enlarge this and make it a piece of wall art. Excuse me, I got tongue-tied there. But you could make it a tropical piece of shark-centric wall art if you are an oceanographer, or you know, someone that studies sharks, works at a pet store or something like that, just for a tropical bit of decor. But because it is 6 layers and it adds up to a little over 3/4 inch in thickness, it can easily freestand on a shelf, desk, or countertop without the need of a base. But after everything was completely laser cut and engraved over at the TOOCAA 40W laser engraver, we came over to the workbench and spread out a piece of blank newsprint so everything would show through here and not be blending in with the wooden color of the workbench. I went with the acrylic craft pens and painted everything up in nice tropical, aquatic, and coral-like colors that I had on hand. And these two divers here, I guess it's a diving couple swimming in the ocean depths. Those pieces are very small. They're smaller than my thumb here, as you can see, so they are very fragile and very delicate. Again, if you could make the project bigger, it would be less fragile, and I hope that makes sense. But you could use a variety of different colors here. And one thing I would like to see someone do that is good with epoxies or resins is maybe make a project like this that's layered and put some clear acrylic resin or epoxy resin down in it to hopefully give the details a proper showcasing, if that makes any sense. But as you can see here in the back, if I can get the lights of the workshop to reflect it, you can see some schools of fish back here swimming, and those were engraved details. And as you've seen in the time-lapse portion, the laser done all the engraving on that back layer, and then it went to cutting out everything. You always want to engrave before you laser cut, because if you laser cut first and then engraved, if the piece is already released and just sitting there, it could move around and your project would not come out clean and crisp. But really happy with this project, and it's another project to add to the shark projects we have made over here on the channel. And this, I think this is the second Shark Week layered laser project that we have made over here on the channel. I'd have to go back and see, but I hope, again, wherever you are in the big wide world we are living in, you enjoy Shark Week. You all know I'm a huge fan of the movie Jaws. Got on my Jaws tank top jersey this morning, rocking and rolling, making some beautiful and creative art while also enjoying Shark Week 2026. That's going to be about all for this one, crew. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll click that subscribe button and follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, crew, and remember, if I can make it or do it, so can you all. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you all real soon.